All right, hello everyone, and welcome to Speedrunner Showcase, featuring UmbraSonset, who is a very experienced runner, very experienced player of this game, and very glad to have you on the show today, Umbra.
Nice to finally get this done. I know you've been asking for one for a while.
Yeah, this has been a long time coming. Umbra, obviously a central member of the Marble Up community, but has not yet been on Speedrunner Showcase. So what we're going to do is we're just going to start the video, and we'll learn a little bit more about Umbra and his speedrunning career. All right, so this was your this will be your first Speedrunner Showcase. How are you feeling?
Pretty tired, to be honest.
Pretty tired.
It's the last day of a vacation and still trying to get my sleep schedule back on track, so
Nice.
it's a little bit rough.
Yep, I feel that. Sleep is a thing that always, when you have more time to sleep for some reason, I get less of it.
That's what it seems like.
That's what it seems like. Yep.
I think I'd just been caught up too much in Blue Fire and not going to sleep until 3 a.m. or something.
Nice.
That game is pretty fun, but it's still nothing compared to Marbles.
I agree. I agree. So we're just getting into your chapter 1, starting out this run, and would you tell me when did you set this personal best? I know it was a little while ago now.
I would have to double check the submission date on that.
I think it was something like 3 or 4 weeks ago. Maybe even a little bit longer.
It's like it shows 1 month ago. It was submitted on September 6th, it looks like.
Okay. Yeah, so almost 2 months ago now. Wow. But yeah, I've been pestering you for a little while to come on the show, but very glad to have you here. Pretty good chapter 1 so far. We're getting into Onward and Upward.
Is this a 39.0x? Yes, it is. It's the only sub 40 that was submitted for the leaderboards.
Right. Okay, so you had about, was that a 208-ish chapter 1? Tell me, was this a no reset run, or was it, were you resetting during these attempts?
I think it was pretty much a no reset run. It was one of the first couple of runs on the day of attempts. I know that much.
Oh, I feel like that's an emerging pattern. You know, obviously a lot of people are grinding these attempts, but a lot of runs that end up on this show were actually the first attempt of the day, or some kind of no reset run or race or whatever it is. Just goes to show how it can happen anytime.
Aaron says this 39.0x is the only sub 40. Wrong.
Yeah,
it's the only one that's been submitted for the runs.
Yeah,
I do have a local recording of a 39.47 or 48. That was a failed attempt.
And just speaking of attempts, you've put in, you know, a fair amount of work and a fair amount of effort into this RTA category. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, fair number of attempts. Yeah, you can see on the live splits I've got 1,100 attempts for that split file that I currently have.
Yeah, and I guess that's 56 completions out of those?
Correct.
Correct. Okay.
Most runs will tend to be reset in chapter 1 or chapter 3.
Okay.
And that's just because Cog Valley seems to troll me far too much.
Cog Valley, not the most consistent for most players, honestly.
I used to be top 5 on the leaderboards, and I can't seem to remember how to do it.
Yep.
But that's how it goes with a lot of the level runs in my current full game submission here.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of strategies that a lot of strategies and routes that you need to keep up your practice on, and just like it's so much to remember all of those different muscle memories for each and every single level, all 60 levels in this category. I definitely have found as well that it's just as I'm starting to get used to something, I'm already forgetting how to do something else.
Oh yeah, that's very easily done. I know one main level that it puts me to shame to say that I failed the most frequent in-run attempts is one that I previously had world record on.
Oh yeah?
One that I came up with, the RTA route.
Which level is that?
Ex Machina.
All right, okay.
It's debatable on whether it's Katz's route or my route, but getting the trophy during the RTA.
Yep. Had a little bit of a hiccup with the triple divide back up there, but only costs a handful of seconds there.
Yeah, don't really know why the speed just got entirely lost, but simple enough to back it up and get another wall hit attempt on it.
Yeah, you certainly had enough speed, but the jump spacing was a little bit awkward. Yeah, so getting in toward the end of Chapter 2, and you are ahead of your previous PB splits by about 20 seconds. That's always a good feeling, even if your previous PB might have had a weaker early game. It still feels to be going into the start of where the run really gets going with a lead.
I think the real main lead for this run should come mid to late Chapter 4.
Okay. You had some time to save in Chapter 4 then, over your previous splits.
Just going up through the entire full game run attempts, I've always had a horrible level completion time for everything up through Chapter...
Hold on. You did a bit of an edge surf there on Sugar Rush? That was kind of cool. I'm going to go back and look at that for a moment here.
Yeah, Sugar Rush is one level that's... Well, I know on my channel I've got the clip of the triple edge surf that I did.
I mean, yeah, technically it's only a double edge surf, but that's still really cool. And yeah, the fact that you've done triples is kind of fun.
I just kind of have to throw that in there. I kind of miss the launch off the top of that ramp that gets me all the way to the setup at the end.
Right.
But it was clean enough to keep the run going.
Yep. I see you're doing the lower variation on elevator action. Is that your normal strat like me, or is that your backup strat?
Normally I get the proper launch to get the full EA skip.
Okay.
But I noticed as soon as I hit that final ramp and started going across the gap that I wasn't going to have enough height. So
well, that was good because you didn't hesitate at all. It almost looked like you were intending to do that the whole time based on how quickly you reacted to that.
Yeah, no, I've failed it so many times. I've just learned to quickly spot and adjust to get the backup route with it.
Very good. All right, we've got older variation on Icy Ascent. Were you practiced in the newer variation at this time? Or is that something you've learned since then?
For the Nicey Ascent skip setup, it is one of the route adjustments that I have taken a look at once or twice, but never really tried to learn.
Yep.
It just didn't stick with me after one attempt, so didn't give it more than 2 seconds of practice. So I just stuck with what I know. Same goes there with the River Vantage. I went for the edge hit.
Yeah, you went for River Vantage hit, which is very fun. But I guess you weren't really super practiced in the Sea Murder strat. So you, again, just stick with what you know is always safe.
Sad part is my splits are still green and positive in time. So
that's not sad.
That goes to show how bad my early game splits have been for over a year.
Well, you know what? You definitely have your strengths as a player in general, as well as your strengths in this category, as does everyone else. But yeah, early game can be frustrating a lot of the times. I found, and many people have found, that it can be difficult not to reset when a few things go wrong in the early game. But obviously, you're still on pace to set a really big PB. You saved 27 seconds on off kilter, so clearly you're not on a bad run.
No, the fact that off kilter was first try was. I've been telling people it's easy, it's simple, just take it slow, and it's guaranteed to get first try.
It's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
It is, because previously it was always second or third try for me, but yep. I made sure that this run had it first try, and it was a little bit slow getting a 13-1.
Yeah, those little tiny time losses are definitely not going to end up being all that significant in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, getting it first try, that does matter for sure, because every death will definitely add up.
Made sure to get the time capsule jump into the goal there as well.
Yeah, another one of those things where missing it is a pretty small time loss, but oh, I remember this. This incredible save on Cog Valley. That is Coggers, but just barely Coggers. That is the closest to not Coggers you can get while getting Coggers. So, well done. I've never ever managed to get that back up in the many times I've missed the skip.
Hey Fletch. Love Cog skip? Yeah, I'm known to scuff my runs, but I make sure it works regardless, right?
Yeah, we've got so much of the community in here for Umbra's showcase, including developer Fletch. Just goes to show you how important Umbra is to this community as a speedrunner, as a player, you know, as a supporter of all the different Marble It Up streamers. Yeah, really excited to celebrate this PB. A little bit late, though it may be.
Can't remember if I got the IL edge hit or if I just got a smooth braid. Right.
Yeah,
I missed it
for braid you fell off, but you did have the presence of mind not to hit reset. I think I probably would have reset in that situation. Not because it's the right thing to do, but just because I would have forgotten that there's a checkpoint there.
It's been a force of habit for me to hit the reset button as well.
Yep, reflex reset,
so,
for sure.
I think since this run was doing fairly good on pace up to that point, I was like, all right, it's a no reset. Don't push reset. Just get it done first try. Know when I get the checkpoints and finish it out.
Yeah, it's good that you got that. Again, pardon the construction going on back there. Hopefully it's not too loud going on in the stream. All right, so Sunspire, not much to talk about with this, but why don't you tell me a little bit about your history with Marble It Up?
A little bit of the history is previous Marble Blast games. I never really played too much, but I was a big Xbox player back in the day and played a lot of Marble Blast Ultra.
Classic.
When I saw Marble It Up was coming to Switch, I was extremely hyped for it, and I had it in my Switch's eShop cart item for quite some time, but actually got held up by IRL things and came late to the game, and I think I joined just a couple of months late into the speedrunning side and joining the Discord itself.
Right. But you've been in the game for almost the full 3 years now.
I think I've been in playing the game probably the most out of any other player.
Yep. That is a known fact. How many hours do you have now?
I want to say on my Switch it's over 800 hours, and that was my primary platform of play prior
initially.
to switching over to the PC version on Steam, just to include the custom levels. And
yep. And if you think 800 is a lot, then tell us how many you have on PC, Umbra.
I actually have to open up my Steam and take a look here. It is currently at 6,867.7 hours and counting, since I'm practicing some custom levels at the moment.
Absolute madness. Just the dedication that you've put into this game is basically unrivaled. There's nobody else. I think the closest anybody has is basically about half of that, and that's for the most dedicated players in the game, other than you. So, absolute madness.
I want to say Snowboarder also has a large number of play hours on his Steam account.
Right.
But a vast portion of that is AFK when he leaves the game running.
Yeah, there's a lot of AFK, and there's a few level builders as well that have many, many hours logged from actual designing levels. But in terms of actual gameplay, you're by far the most experienced player in this game.
Out of actual gameplay, I want to say there's under 200 hours of my playtime that's possible AFK, and that's when I was doing level building and testing for the handful of custom levels that I've made.
And when 200 hours is a barely significant portion of your total playtime, then you know you're definitely in the big leagues. Ooh, a small miscalculation there on Acrophobia, but it doesn't look like it costs that much.
No, it seems to be going fairly good. I think it just took my timer back up to the red splits, though.
Yeah, you're in the red, but you're still basically even with your PB. You know, give or take a few seconds.
I do know by the end of this chapter, it will be back in the green.
Yeah, we've got
because Ex Machina
and Diamond in the Sky.
Yep.
They'll be coming up, and you've got some time to save on those, which is always a good feeling when you're running through the game and you know you've got some time save coming up soon.
And before Ex Machina, come on, Hatchet.
You've got a nice clean Ex Machina strat here. Looks pretty different. Oh, still a little bit of a fall. Yeah, I guess you can't really get up from here, can you? I would be impressed, though. I'd be very impressed.
You can. I just messed up the jump pattern to actually fully save that.
Ooh. Okay, so falling a little bit further behind on Ex Machina, but I think you said you had time save on Diamond in the Sky.
I thought I did. Let's see. 18, 20.
But these splits you're going against are also quite good. Just barely above 40 minutes for the splits that you're up against. So
yeah, the splits that it's comparing against is the 40.08 that I previously had submitted to the leaderboards.
Yep, it says 40.06 here on my screen. for your Chapter 6 time.
Was it 40:06?
Yep.
All I know is I just barely missed the sub 40, and I wanted the sub 40 before this showcase took place.
Well, we're all really glad that you got it. I know sub 40 is still considered to be the kind of one of the big marks of an elite player to get to that level. It's kind of the ultimate time, past the diamond time, if you will, on what it takes to be in a certain sub 40 club, you could say, because it's the last 10-minute barrier in the category, at least as far as we know for now.
I think Hatchet's current splits are showing the best possible of sub 30 minute.
Yeah, which is crazy. Very crazy.
To be an extremely rough time for anybody to get.
Yeah, that includes a lot of pretty ridiculous skips, although I don't believe it does include elevator kickflip, which is something we'll be seeing a little bit later here.
No, I've tried to get Hatchet to do the proper escalation many times, and he keeps refusing.
Well, I mean, you know, if you're just going to do it to try to get your sum of best down, then that's probably not very helpful. But if you're actually going to end up eventually going for it in order to save time and set some new records, then yeah, you'd want to have that.
I want to say one of the big skips in the full game category is definitely on Staying Alive.
Right.
I think I pulled a Umbra scuffed half skip.
Well, let's see. Let's watch together and see what happens here. We've got...
It's been so long I can't remember if I got it or not.
It's been a while, hasn't it? But yeah, we've got setting up for stand skip. This is... you know, I've made it public. This is my favorite skip in the game. And let's see how far into this you can get. It's... Okay, yeah. You bailed on it a little bit here. But the fact that you even got that much safely without dying is very good. Because that would have cost you about close to 50 seconds if you had fallen off there. So, you know, very, very good. Better than I could do. Especially in the middle of a full game run, 20 minutes in.
Yeah, it is a rough skip to get a proper launch to make it to the goal without having to wait for the platform.
Yeah, but you don't lose anything by the fact that you have to wait for the platform. You just aren't saving the time of actually getting to the goal.
I was just able to sit back on the pillar, grab my drink, have a sip, and just wait and finish it.
Yeah, you can kind of almost take the meme of going AFK during Staying Alive, literally, if you get there and you're just sitting on the pillar.
Well, you could, but I think Hatchet's tried that once or twice, not to throw anything his way, but we all know about Chili Skip.
That we do. Look at you.
Oh yeah, and Hatchet, when I don't follow Katz's setups, Katz's doesn't follow my setups. Gordian's easy.
Well, it wasn't too risky. You did use like super jump strats where you hold on to the super jump, but you didn't end up actually using that super jump to save time. So yeah, you definitely had the confidence to go for the edge hit, but you didn't end up needing that backup super jump, so it worked out. Oh, I didn't, man, I'd forgotten that you were going for this contraption skip. This is one that I've definitely struggled with.
Contraption skip is one that is not something I prefer to do.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd give it a try since I was ahead of my splits. but then I saw if I fail it 2-3 times, I'd break even. So I played it safe.
Well, you went for it once, and nobody's going to fault you for that, right? Honestly, I don't think I've ever actually attempted in a run because I'm just so inconsistent at it in practice. But you went for it, so obviously you're more confident than I am.
One big caveat to uphill both ways is this level is one that I have to intentionally take slow during RTAs just because my local replay and current PB for the level is the IL route.
Okay.
Getting the starting edge hit and then failing to get to the goal.
So you want to make sure you don't beat that because you like the replay.
Correct. It's a hilarious fail, and it's 100% my personality and style of play.
Well, you got to make sacrifices to keep your replay. So good for you.
Let's see. Fake flippity. Yes.
Looks like standard RTA route.
It is standard. It's smooth, simple enough, easy to do.
Yeah, this is definitely my favorite route for the thing, but I've seen some cool different variations, and there's one that's kind of evil, but
Oh, are you talking Sabadra's route?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of a mean route there, Sabadra. Why would you come up with that?
Man, your IL start on Vertigo is just... It looks so scary. I know you're really consistent at it, though.
For controller players, that start for Vertigo is very reliable to do with or without the second time travel at the very start. So for RTA, it works perfect.
For controller players, you're saying. Yeah, I do.
Correct.
I do the other start, but I have a notch in my controller, so it's essentially like a keyboard, which makes that setup consistent for me. Because I can always get the right angle without needing to adjust the camera angle at all. Just go straight ahead. But yeah, if you don't have a notch in your controller, it can be a lot more difficult to do those really consistently. Those like perfectly straight ahead starts.
Even if you do have a notch, it's not always a guarantee that a controller's analog input going up into the notch will always keep a true north input.
Yeah, I find it basically guaranteed when I'm playing on Switch, but using the same controller on Steam, it's a little bit less consistent for me. You know, just I guess the way that the Switch interprets my controller angle, it's always perfectly true north when I'm holding it in the notch. But my Steam controller settings are a little too sensitive for that, I think.
Aaron says he's got a notch in his controller. I've actually got one of my Switch Pro controllers that has a notch in it, but when I play on Steam, normally it's with my Xbox controller.
Okay. So we're 27:58 going into Chapter 6, which is a very respectable time. Good to get in there before the 28-minute mark. And also 20 seconds ahead of your 40:06 PB.
And on average, getting out of Chapter 5 and starting Danger Zone, I'm normally getting here at the 32-minute mark.
Yeah, so, you know...
So for an average pace run, which I thought this was going to end up being,
yep,
I was 4 minutes ahead of pace. And
yeah, you had a great mid-game.
I was shockingly surprised by it.
Ooh, this is difficult. Oh my gosh. Oh no, I did not remember that. I'll give you a moment to catch up, but that Danger Zone finish was so close to being amazing. Almost insane.
I could have had a sub 39 for my first sub 40 run, but nope.
I mean, anybody could say that about their runs. Like, oh, if this one thing had been a little bit different, then it would have been a sub whatever. But yeah, I definitely feel the frustration that you might have over missing that because it was just that cool.
Oh, even if I got the smooth transition on that ramp for Danger Zone, it may have been sub 39, but there's also a level a little bit later on that I definitely could have done cleaner.
We'll get there.
Overall.
For now, you're getting kind of trolled by
Yeah.
wall gem there. A little bit of a shame that wall gem, the hitbox can be really, really trolly sometimes.
Yeah.
But make sure you point out that level when we get to it, because I'm interested to find out what it is. But yeah, there's always going to be, especially when you're looking back at your own runs, you're always going to look at like this one mistake that you made, like, oh, if only this had been a little tiny bit different. And that's definitely a sentiment that I share with my runs as well. And I think just about everybody can point to the flaws in their runs that make the runs a little bit less than satisfying for the runner. But then as a viewer, it's those things don't stand out quite as much as, you know, the really awesome, very, very cool skips and tricks that you pull off. At least that's my opinion. How do you... I mean, you watch a lot of other speedrunners. How do you see those runs in comparison to the way you see your own runs?
That's a good question. I know I see the game a little bit differently compared to a lot of players, mainly just due to the sheer number of hours I've got playing the game. I see a lot of people complaining about lack of consistency, even with doing the same type of setups, and I've tried to share some of the knowledge that I've got towards it, and
yeah, and knowledge is definitely an important half of the equation for learning how to do something.
Yeah, and from what I've been able to understand with the game's mechanics and how it actually fully controls, it's not always X input and Y camera angle equals Z outcome. There's always going to be a fluctuation in there in one aspect or another. So it's more of a pay attention to the marble, pay attention to the spin, and make quick, precise adjustments as needed while playing to make sure the outcome gets...
Yeah, that's a really good point that a lot of people who don't play Marble It Up may not completely understand, is that this game is very reactive. You know, certainly it is, you know, let's say, you know, if you do the inputs absolutely perfectly, then you will get the right, you will get the expected outcome, but there's always going to be those minor differences between runs, and those can change a lot of the direction and the spin of your marble. And if you're not constantly watching and making those micro adjustments that you're talking about, then you're never going to get to this level where you're doing elevator kickflips.
And the sad part is, I wasn't actually trying to go for the elevator on that first attempt.
I know you weren't
planning to go for the RTA safe route, but I bonked my head.
Yep. Yeah, just one of those things
so
where
I needed to ensure I kept that time saved. So
well, you needed
had
it
to do it.
You really did need, in this case, because you were falling a little bit behind your PB time, you needed that elevator kickflip in order to have a chance, and you made it. So that's just super clutch.
And then don't we all love Confluence?
Don't we? Yep. You had that gravity that's a little bit off kilter. Is always a little annoying for me. I like to have it flat. I know some people do it off kilter always.
I always make sure that it's a little bit off level.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It just seems to make my play style be a little more consistent.
Well, you got to do what you're used to sometimes, right? And it works just as well either way, as long as you're doing it consistently the same way.
Hatchet, look away! I forgot how to Olympus.
Oh, that edge hit is a little bit heartbreaking there on that Olympus death.
As soon as I saw I didn't get the right jump pattern at the very beginning,
yeah,
I knew that death was coming. I tried to save it.
It's hard to avoid. I mean, you can only go so fast. It's not like you could have adjusted by holding back a little bit to go further. Sometimes you can adjust, but not... That time you were just holding forward, and there's nothing you can do. Just not quite enough distance.
Alright, Hatchet, you can watch from here on. It should be smooth from this point to the end. And I joke with a lot of people about Olympus because I don't see the level as being that much of a run killer.
Yeah, but
once you learn how the game handles the neutral bounces.
But even the most experienced players struggle with Olympus and RTA when they first start playing RTA, right? Even people who have like really good Olympus IL times struggle with Olympus RTA when they first start RTA. I think it almost has more to do with your RTA experience than it does with your Olympus experience. Of being able to land this under pressure and keeping it smooth all the way down to the bottom. And you finish up Olympus 222.22. Which is good enough to keep you in the lead.
222.224, not diamond time. .222 diamond time.
That's funny.
Barely missed it.
Yeah, so you're still 30 seconds in the lead going into Stratosphere here. And yeah, I am realizing that I have more memories of your 40.06 run than I do of this actual run. Which is funny.
Yeah.
I think it just had to do with the fact that it had that really strange but cool escalation save, as well as a few other, you know, really fun tricks and stuff that ended up into that run.
Ooh, I just noticed what the timer's at, and the fact that this run gets 39.02.
Yeah, I'm starting to notice that too. It's it looks like you're projected for about a 39 flat. That'll be 40 seconds from now, maybe. Oh yeah, maybe there's gonna be a mistake here. I can't remember. Again, like I've seen this run, but I think I saw your previous run a couple more times. 30 seconds from now, that could be about right.
I think I may have just gotten a high launch, but I fairly certain.
Right, I do love your high launch that you do here for.
Yeah,
That's a really cool little trick. Yeah, you're definitely going to make this
a proper RTA route that people should go for. But
yeah,
I find it works for me.
If it works for you and it's
a
cool,
little stylish.
Yeah, it's one of those swag strats, right?
Always.
Swag strats, they have some value as well. All right. Yeah, so that is it for your run, finishing up that swag strat and getting a 3902. So let me pull up our leaderboard here while we're in this area. And we'll get some Marble Up music going on here too. Awesome. So yeah, that was enough to get you into the top 10, where you still stand right now. 1 month ago, 3902.560 milliseconds. So yeah, congratulations, Umbra. How are you feeling and looking forward to any kind of future runs in this category, any other categories or goals you have in this game or other speed games that you're looking at?
For this game, I want to say the community challenge that I've submitted on my Twitch a while back was get me to finally get a sub 35-minute run submitted for the boards, and that's going to be the plan shortly after this showcase wraps up. And
right.
Going to do some RTA run attempts and see if I can bust that out. I know when it comes to the chapter categories for this game, there's a lot of the runs that I've done are very dated, using old or bad strats.
Okay.
I kind of expect that. I know the chapter 2 run that I did, I only did the one run, and that was just to get it submitted for the board. Chapter 2 is not my favorite to play by any means.
Okay.
But I do know chapter 5 is one where I definitely want to have a PB for that chapter done, so I may start my stream a little bit later with chapter 5 runs before jumping over to full game.
Okay, so do you have a goal now that you've done your sub 40? Is there something else, like what are you aiming for?
Sub 35 minutes.
Okay.
And that should be...
that would be a very, very cool run and throw you very comfortably into the top 5. You know, if you can get there. So definitely looking forward to that. And as you alluded to, we are going to be rating your channel right after this Speedrunner Showcase is done. And yeah, I'm excited for that. I look forward to all of your future accomplishments and hope that I get to have you here on the show again someday.
Yeah, it was fun. Hopefully the sub 35 doesn't take too long and we can do this again.
Sub 35 showcase would be pretty awesome. So let me say again, congratulations, and ask you, is there anything else you'd like to say for the end of the Speedrunner Showcase?
Just have fun, everybody. Keep balling.
Keep balling.